dangerous and unknown. These are two words that could describe the mission of the Iranian Army's 86th Flotilla, which was chosen to carry out a great mission, a 360-degree circumnavigation of the globe, and a history-making voyage that took more than 7 months. There are not many countries in the world that have the ability to do this and are able to travel across all the oceans in the world in just one voyage. But the 86th Flotilla, or the 360-degree Authority Flotilla, was able to record this honor in Iran's name. Of course, it wasn't that simple. Given that many things were to be experienced for the first time, all aspects had to be carefully examined. Due to the long, dangerous route that was to be traveled, the weather conditions along the route and the flow of water in the oceans, especially in the unknown route in the Pacific Ocean, had to be checked before departure. But the Blade of Sanctions had even denied us access to the world's most up-to-date weather software. So we had to find the solution for this inside the country. The experts in the Army's Strategic Navy Department, as well as the country's knowledge-based companies and universities, had to take industrious action and give precise information about the route. The results of this choice were a blessing. With round-the-clock endeavors of specialized groups under the vibrant flag of Iran, data on the atmosphere and the meteorology of the oceans in the last half-century were examined. The outcome of this work was a software that could forecast the weather conditions from moment to moment and be a reference source for the country for many years for determining the weather conditions in the oceans. This was vital work. The destroyer Dinar and the forward-based ship Makran were to enter the Pacific Ocean for the first time in Iran's history after passing through the Indian Ocean, the Strait of Malacca, and the port of Jakarta in Southeast Asia. It was to grapple with waves that sometimes reach up to 20 meters in height. It's a place that's cruel and harsh, contrary to its name, and seeks someone who can take on this challenge. It's a place where the depth of the ocean is sometimes more than 11 kilometers. But the most serious test was to be carried out by the all-Iranian destroyer Dinar, in a place where even ships weighing several tens of thousands of tons are incapable. A lightweight, nimble Iranian destroyer wrote history Iranian style and was able to pass through the mighty ocean waves with authority. This impressive success astonished even the countries that have a long history of seafaring. In this route of more than 60,000 kilometers that started from the Persian Gulf, the Navy's flotilla passed through the Indian Ocean, the Strait of Malacca, Malaysia, Indonesia, and Australia. It traveled non-stop from the western Pacific Ocean to the western borders of the American continent. It traveled to the southernmost waterways in the world. It experienced both the heat of the equator and the deadly cold near the South Pole, and also the warm waters of Brazil and the cold current of Benguela. It astonished the sailors and the naval forces on the way. It entered the Atlantic Ocean, triumphantly passed through it from west to east and reached Africa. Then it traveled through the Indian Ocean to the waters that will always be known as the Persian Gulf. This seafaring, which was both long and difficult, took more than 7 months. It was full of both bitter and sweet events. Harder than the stormy waves were the waves of loneliness affecting the families who missed their loved ones. They were alone and worrying about their loved ones for a very long time, but this was overcome with their self-sacrificing spirit. During this time, 2 of the crew on the flotilla underwent surgery in the Makran Naval Hospital. There was an appendix surgery while on the ocean and an orthopedic surgery for a hand fracture, which were successfully performed by the naval medical team in the well-equipped operating room of the destroyer. The United States never even imagined that our Army sailors, who had hearts the size of the ocean, could travel this long distance. When they realized that the flotilla had overcome all the hardships and was invincible, they began to sanction the forward-based ship Makran and the destroyer Dinar. But the sanctions were met with indifference by the countries along the route. After reaching the Americas and docking at Rio de Janeiro in Brazil, which infuriated the United States, the flotilla prepared to break the record of navigation in Iran, which was 45,000 kilometers before this. And this record was broken by them, penetrating into the heart of the Atlantic Ocean. The passage of the Iranian flotilla through the currents of the Atlantic Ocean, known as the Benguela Current, and then their docking at the port of Cape Town in South Africa, and then continuing their seafaring to their motherland, was a masterpiece of the Iranian flotilla. And it was done by men who were under 30 years of age on average. Apart from the military authority this voyage demonstrated for our country, the economic, political, and cultural achievements of this mission must not be neglected. It showed their firm informational grasp of the most important straits and ports in the world, which are considered major maritime trade routes, and it paved the way for the commercial flotilla of our dear country to have a foothold in new routes. It also allowed them to benefit from diplomacy and meeting with the officials of countries such as India, Brazil, and South Africa, thus thwarting the plot to isolate Iran. And this shows why the leader believes the Islamic Republic of Iran's navy is a strategic force.
این تسلط دریایی، این حضور راهبردی برای نیروهای دریایی ما و ناوگانهای دریایی ما، این پیام آور عزت ملت هاست، پیام آور بیداری ملت هاست. این نشان دهنده این است که ملت ایران در غربت کامل، در تنهایی کامل، در مواجهه با یک جبهه وسیع از دشمنان نابکار و نامرد توانسته با اتکاء به خدا، با اعتماد به نفس خود رو به اینجا برسانه. این درس خواهد بود برای ملت‌های دیگر.